I would like basically to talk a little bit about innovation in Web3 in general, and for this, please allow me to tell you just a short story. It's a story about the guy I'm coming from Serbia, and it's another Serbian guy, but he was living in the 19th century, second half of 19th century. And basically, he's born in the middle of nowhere, one small village, nothing significant about it. And under normal circumstances, this guy would probably end up being a farmer. He will raise the cattle or maybe work on the field and so on. But he had one specific advantage over other people from that time. And it was his father was actually a very well-educated man. He was a priest. And he had a large library of books from poetry to science, religion, and so on. So this kid was raised from his earliest days to read and learn and so on. And to cut the long story short, maybe 2-3 decades after, this guy will end up in United States of America, becoming the ultimate geek, I would say, of all time, one of the probably most important engineers, scientists that we know about, and his name is Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla invented, I don't know, like a huge amount of different inventions, not finished them all, but maybe the most important for us today is his concept of alternating current, which basically enabled for transmission of electricity to our homes. And nowadays we have not just light, but we have, like washing machines, TVs, radios, internet, even blockchain. So this guy basically changed the world. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I would like to draw two conclusions, the first one, imagine if somebody from 19th century coming from a village in the middle of nowhere was able to change fundamentally the world we live in, and basically every invention that we have today and we are so proud about was possible because of him. And now we are living in 21st century where all this information is reachable. We can easily grasp and take all this information and learn. So it's so much easier for us today. Another thing that I also want to say is, like, at that time, Tesla had to fight for mercy of investors, big investors, because a lot of his inventions never were, finished because investors were short-sighted, and now we regret because some of these ideas cannot be created even today after he's dead for a long time. But blockchain, as people already said before me, is bringing the power to the people. And we have this opportunity, to crowdsource our development and create things that were not possible for some outsider before.
Ideally, when you look at the whole business models of the past, every business was focused on creating some asset and using that asset, leveraging it over a period of time to profit from it. So it could be a piece of software. You license it, you patent it, and then you use that for recurring or major revenues. And if someone tries to use that, you ensure that they pay you some fees for it. And that's how business in the tech space has been for a very long time. But that changes right now because with open source, your code is out there. Anybody can look at it. Anybody can copy it. They can enhance it, and they can do exactly what you're doing with no additional effort. So the question shifts. Where is the value here? It's not in your code, because it's out there, it's free, it's copyable, it's verifiable. So the value is moving to how we are structuring the business model to benefit every member in your ecosystem. So it could be, let's say, there are 3-4 parties in your economy, in your ecosystem that coexist. Then it is important to ensure that they all connect and benefit each other because of what you do as a protocol. That's what blockchain is all about. It's not about having 10, 20 employees at your end, creating something that with the minds of the 10, 20 people, but connecting with a larger community, getting everyone's mind and energy into creating something bigger, better than what a 5 or 10 people team can create. And that value transfer that's happening at that point is what is monetizable. Because now if you have a product A and there's a product B on the other side, which is very much the same, The features, the functions could be the same. Maybe it's 5% better, 10% better, but it's all the same. The value is really the community. If one product has 100,000 people and they like the community, the strength and what people do there, they tend to work with that more than the other. So the shift in focus right now, when it is with not just the core product, but with the way it is structured and the way the value is connected across that entire tier of ecosystem, now you need to start rethinking your entire business models based on that. You cannot use your old model of functioning, your old models where you are capitalizing on one asset. Right now, it's about you can capitalize from everyone's assets. So if party A is transacting with party B, you can benefit by being the protocol, being that platform that provisions that enables it, that secures it. And if there are so many different shareholders in your business, you don't have to compete with anybody, but being that platform where they all conduct business with you is going to make you more profitable, because your share of profitability right now is much, much wider than what it could be back then.
Awesome.
This also makes it even more interesting, because now what you have can be verified by everyone. Nobody is able to cheat. Nobody is able to modify. And when all this is cohesive, it is a whole new level of trustlessness, permissionlessness, which is what the core of decentralization is. And that's what blockchain stands for.
How can you know, your view that you're solving the right problem?
Okay, so we can approach this question from two perspectives. One is the perspective of a builder, right? So it's crazily difficult to be a CEO, right? It's kind of drowning, but it has been very interesting for me. So, but as a builder, you think about a problem, or you see a problem, then you begin to think about a solution around it. You can come up with some ideas of what the solution is, but when you talk to your users, you will really find out what the solution is. So just push out your MVP, then find out from the users. But in doing all this, you begin to think about, how should I solve this problem? So many a times you discover that you might not even need blockchain to solve the problem. For example, there are certain aspects of logistics that you can be into, and it's just because the government doesn't have good roads, there's no transport system, the rails are not working, the airlines are underperforming, right? So you don't really need blockchain to solve those kind of problems. Like, you just get in there and solve the problem. But if you have some other very, very vivid problems like payments, right? You are in Nigeria, you want to send money to China, the banks is going to take about 6% of the money. You look for better sustainable ways to send this money. You can quickly use a P2P market, convert to USDTs, and within 10 minutes or 1 minute, your money is in China, right? So these places, you can see vividly how you can use blockchain to solve problems. So you can see that in insurance, you can see that around different financial sectors and other. So the other side where I have to talk about the value and the blockchain, understanding that you are really solving a problem, it's when you really drive the utility of your platform on that token, right? There are different types of tokens, but you have that kind of token that is a utility token, or it's a hybrid token. So imagine that in Nigeria, we have NEPA, right? The power holding company in Nigeria. So if NEPA stops collecting Naira, then there's a power coin, for example, right? So everybody in Nigeria, over 200 million people, let's say out of the total addressable market, you have about, let's say you have about 20 million families. And 20 million families, people who have light to a reasonable extent. Okay, I'm just making an example, right? You have 9 million people who really have access to light. That means you have 9 million customers using your token. It's so much powerful, right? Because these people can, 9 million, if let's say one of your token is one Naira, right? And you have 9 million people, and one of this family has to spend about 20,000 Naira monthly on this token, and they have to start purchasing that token. Then you discover that the price of the token just skyrockets, and it's not going to be 1 Naira again. It grows exponentially, right? So if you can build something that people want, people use, and it is out there, and their market it's large enough,
Right.
and they really need your token to use your product, for example, they really need your token to use your product, definitely it's going to go in geometric
Wow.
value.